Okay, we are back in the podcast zone with Tom Petska from SPB Hospitality. Tom, welcome to the podcast zone.
Great to be here. Thanks so much.
So tell us about SPB. You've got several brands under that banner, is that right?
Yeah, we do. SPB stands for Serving People Better, and we're a large hospitality company. We own and operate through corporate operations or franchise operations about 600 restaurants across the U.S.
Wow.
Our three franchise brands, iconic Crystal, founded in 1932.
Oh, yeah.
Primarily based in the South, but we are growing. We're getting into North Carolina. We're going into Texas this year. We're looking at Phoenix. So the development plans there have really grown since Crystal decided not to grow. And then Old Chicago was actually founded out of Denver, Colorado. A lot of people confuse our name because of Old Chicago, thinking it's the deep dish pizza.
Right.
And it's really not. It's actually named after a pinball game and a bunch of buddies that used to hang out at a craft beer bar.
Oh, no kidding. Oh, that's a great story.
Yeah. So we still have great pizza. We got 110 beers on the menu, about 40 handles on tap. It's regionally focused. And then we have Logan's Roadhouse.
Yeah, and how long has Logan's been franchised?
Logan's is one of the weird stories of the franchise world. So Logan's was founded actually a year before Texas Roadhouse came to fruition. So we're a little bit older than them. There were two founders. They decided not to franchise. Texas Roadhouse franchised and grew like crazy. And when Kraftworks acquired Logan's a handful of years ago, they became the first two franchisees. So the founders of the brand are still franchisees of the brand, but they never really expanded it. So that's why I call it the hidden gem of the Roadhouse world in franchising.
Right. And I've got to say, too, I love the story about Old Chicago, because as someone who grew up in Chicago, I can attest that deep dish stuff, that's not Chicago-style pizza, right?
That's true.
That's the tourist pizza. So, and I would also say my favorite tchotchke in all of franchising is the Old Chicago combination pizza cutter and bottle opener. It's like you guys know me.
Yeah. The last couple of franchise shows we've gone through anywhere from 500 to 700 of them.
And I think I only took 40 or 50.
Yeah. And people, now that the word's out that they're so cool, they actually just stop by the booth to get those. They leave everything else, but they'll take the pizza cutters.
Well, there's something about having an item that pretty much is accurately describing what the brand does, right?
Yes.
Pizza on one end, beer on the other.
Yes.
There you go.
We got both of them in one little nice handheld device.
So tell me why franchising has been so successful specifically for your brands. Is it just growing into new areas or new parts of the country where franchising has made the most sense? What is it really about franchising that has just energized these brands?
So Crystal, it's kind of three different conversations because there's three different brands based in three different parts of the United States. Crystal was founded in Chattanooga in 1932, and it did not franchise until 1991. So it grew corporately. So it's relatively young in the world of franchising to a large degree. Our first franchisee was Carolyn Hale, a female. She and her husband Wayne Hale are now our largest franchisee.
Oh, wow.
They're still in our system.
Wow.
With their operating partner, John Jones, they are now at 93 locations.
Good for them.
They'll be at over 100 before the end of the year.
Wow.
So their growth has been exponential. Our current franchisees are growing. They're adding more locations. And, of course, the growth opportunity for Crystal has always been to get outside of its own pocket. And people love Crystal, much like White Castle has a big following.
Yeah.
Crystal's customers they're fanatics. And so, getting into Houston, hopefully later this year, getting into the DFW market later this year, even up into the upper Midwest, we've had a lot of interest just because it's a very simple concept, relatively easy to run, doesn't take a lot of manpower, and, there's a lot of opportunity there. So sales, Crystal, out of all of our brands, and, in the restaurant world and the economy today, it's really hard to find same-store sale growth. And Crystal is winning that battle.
I like, too, the idea of a brand that does have that fanatic following that Crystal has.
Yes.
Going into new parts of the country, frankly, where people are moving to, Texas, Arizona, you mentioned, some places like that. There's got to be a lot of people who grew up with Crystal who are now living in another part of the country. And look who followed us from Tennessee, right?
Yep, from Tennessee or Georgia.
So yeah, that's I love seeing that with especially with a nostalgic type of brand, right?
It is. It's Crystal's a very classic brand. That's, if you think about Crystal, 1932 forward, came out of like the Great Depression and the stock crash and all of the world wars that we've had to fight. There's been some idyllic or iconic brands like Crystal that have survived, but most of them have not. Over the years, they've faded out and just kind of gone their way. But Crystal's been able to survive a lot, and with SPB behind them now, it really gives us a push because we're able to share services internally for marketing and development and menu and culinary. We actually have 3 chefs that are inside of the SPB world. They're involved in the culinary process for all of our brands, including Crystal.
Very good. Is there anything that we haven't touched on as far as other reasons why a candidate or someone who's looking for a new opportunity, anything else you'd like to mention about any of the brands, why this is a great fit for a lot of the candidates that we see here today?
Well, just today alone, we've had several conversations with some restaurateurs that are specifically looking for full-service sit-down restaurants, and a few that are looking for only QSR. So
very different than 4 years ago.
Very different than 4 years ago. Things are kind of turning around in the restaurant world itself. But I think one of the things that happened post-COVID was the restaurants had to be able to get to a point where they would streamline their services. The real reinvention of drive-thrus, was perfected. And, even in Crystal, it's probably on average about 75% of our business comes through the drive-thru now.
Wow.
So we're actually building smaller footprints. We're going from 2,500 down to 1,200.
Sure.
We're doing small dining rooms. We're doing walk-ups and, double drive-thrus. So it's taking the business model and adapting to the economic conditions that allow you to thrive and be successful.
And I love that even though the dining room is smaller, there's still a dining room in many of these locations. I think that's important.
It is. Well, especially like down here in South Florida. We get into South Florida. The closest Crystal we have to South Florida is in Orlando. But you get down here in Fort Lauderdale where we're at, and we all know the heat index today is 110 degrees.
No one wants to stand in line outside.
We're not standing in line to go to a walk-up. Now, Michigan may be a little bit different at this time of year, but you're also not going to do a walk-up in Michigan in the middle of February.
Right,
yeah.
Sure. Love it. So perfect. Well, Tom, thanks so much for joining us here in the podcast zone today. If anyone would like some more information about any of your 3 brands, where can we send them?
You can send them to spbhospitality.com. There's a franchise tab, or you're welcome to reach out to me directly. My email is thomas.petska, P as in Peter, E-T, like phone home, S as in Sam, K as in Kappa, A as in Alpha, at spbhospitality.com. That's thomas.petska at spbhospitality.com.
All right, well done. Thank you very much, sir. Have a great rest of the show.
Thank you so much.